Everyone in Chentang Pass called Nezha a demon. But the story keeps asking a more dangerous question: what if the so-called demon was never the real villain? Nezha was condemned before he could make a single choice. He carried the demon orb, so the townspeople decided they already knew his future. Every accident became proof of his evil, while every good deed was treated as another trick. When he tried to protect a child, the crowd saw only the destruction around him. They did not ask what happened. They saw his face, remembered the label, and reached their verdict. That is the first injustice at the center of Nezha's story. He was not punished for what he had done. He was punished for what others expected him to become. And a child treated like a monster eventually learns to fight the whole world. His anger is real. His rebellion is destructive. But neither proves that he is evil. They reveal what constant rejection can do to someone who still desperately wants to belong. Under the jokes and violence, Nezha wants the same thing every lonely child wants: to be seen fairly. That is why his friendship with Ao Bing matters so much. For the first time, Nezha meets someone who does not begin with fear. Ao Bing plays with him, listens to him, and becomes the only friend he believes he has. The friendship exposes the lie behind the labels of Demon Orb and Spirit Pearl. Nezha is born from the supposedly evil orb, yet repeatedly risks himself to save others. Ao Bing receives the supposedly pure pearl, yet is pushed toward burying an entire city. One is feared because of his birth. The other is trusted because of his birth. But when the crisis comes, destiny does not decide who they are. Their choices do. Ao Bing is not simply a villain either. He carries the survival of the Dragon Clan, the expectations of his father, and the shame imposed by heaven. Like Nezha, he is a child forced to answer for a fate written by adults. Their conflict is tragic because they understand each other better than anyone else. They could have been enemies by destiny, but they chose friendship first. That choice becomes Nezha's strongest argument against the world. If a demon orb can protect the innocent, and a spirit pearl can threaten them, then birth cannot define morality. So who is the real villain? It is not one child. It is the system that assigns guilt before action and demands obedience instead of justice. The authorities call their decisions heavenly law, as if power automatically makes them right. The townspeople repeat the judgment because fear is easier than understanding. And parents are pressured to control their children instead of standing beside them. But Nezha's parents begin to break that pattern. His father tells him that other people's opinions do not decide who he is. Only Nezha can decide that through the life he chooses to live. This is more than parental comfort. It is the moral key to the entire story. Nezha cannot control how he was born, what power he received, or how people first see him. He can control what he does next. That is why his famous defiance is not empty rebellion. When Nezha says his fate belongs to him, he rejects a world that mistakes prediction for truth. As he grows, his rebellion also changes. At first, he fights because he refuses to be controlled. Later, he fights because people who cannot defend themselves will be hurt if he does nothing. That difference separates a reckless rebel from a hero. A villain breaks rules for personal gain. Nezha breaks unjust rules while accepting the cost himself. Again and again, he puts his body between disaster and the same people who once rejected him. He does not save them because they finally deserve him. He saves them because it is the right thing to do. That is the clearest proof of his character. Nezha's greatest battle is not against a dragon, a demon, or even heaven. It is against the identity everyone prepared for him before he was born. Ao Bing faces the same battle from the opposite side. One must prove that a demon can choose good. The other must learn that a sacred gift does not excuse a terrible choice. Together, they turn a simple battle between good and evil into a story about prejudice, responsibility, and freedom. The film does not ask us to believe Nezha is perfect. It asks whether an imperfect person should be denied the chance to become better. Everyone expected Nezha to bring destruction, but their fear almost created the very monster they imagined. What saves him is not heavenly approval. It is love, friendship, and the freedom to choose. So no, Nezha was never the real villain. He was a condemned child who refused to let the world's judgment become his destiny. And that may be why audiences recognize themselves in him. Most people will never fight heaven, but many know what it feels like to be reduced to a label. Nezha's answer is simple: you are not the name they give you. You are the choice you make next.